Start measuring your progress if you want to manage it. Don't be that guy who just ignores the small things that will make all the difference. Adjust your diet, your training plan, your lifestyle based on the numbers, and then you get the results. First of all, your weight can fluctuate with about 2.5 kilograms per 24-hour cycle. Observing it as a scientist, as just numbers, don't ever get emotionally attached to the daily numbers and don't make decisions on the daily numbers. There are ways to track the body composition changes, but progress photos is like the easiest and very accurate one. Welcome to the Limitless Body and Mind podcast. Today's episode is what's measured gets managed. It's a very good saying, and we'll be talking about the measurements that you need to be taking when losing weight. Why are they important? What are the mistakes that you can make so you can stay away from them? And what are the other measurements, maybe some of the things that you might want to measure but are not so important, and I'll help you stay on track and stay focused on what really matters. So first of all, why do we need to take measurements? Well, we need to because the journey is very long, and in reality, in a practical world, you're probably going to be unable to assess what's really going on with your journey with yourself in the long run. There is a lot of fluctuations that will be happening in your performance, in your sleep, in your diet, in your weight, in your body composition, and you need to be aware of them. You need to not react emotionally to them. You need to be looking at the bigger picture. You need to be able to see from the start of the month until the end of the month, or until the end of like the 6 months period, what's going on, what has happened, follow for patterns. That's the only way you really have a consistent training regimen and a consistent diet that really works. Without taking the measurements and keeping a record of them, you are practically going to be making emotional decisions sporadically throughout your journey, which will lead to you spinning in circles. A lot of the cases, maybe developing a lot of mental health conditions like eating disorders, body dysmorphia, anxiety, depression. These all can be caused by you not being able to consistently achieve some results and see progress in your journey. And that can often happen because you just make emotional decisions. So this is one thing that you should always remember, and I want to keep it in your mind forever, regardless what the topic is, that we're always emotional decision makers. You might think you're the most rational business leader and you're already a millionaire or whatever your status is, but you're still an emotional decision maker. If you need proof for that, if you need to understand where I'm coming from, listen to the book What's Never Split the Difference. I forgot the author. It's a negotiation book, but it really dives into explaining why this is really the thing. We're not as rational as we believe, and accepting that truth, it actually makes it so much easier, the whole thing, the whole journey, because you don't have to rely on your wrong opinions frequently. You don't have to make the same mistakes that led you to get to where you are right now. All we have to do is just track some numbers, make decisions based on the numbers, adjust your diet, your training plan, your lifestyle based on the numbers, and then you get the results. So that structure which I'm providing right now gives you a robust pathway, something that is just not going to break. It's based on science, it's based on numbers, and when you have the numbers, you just have a guarantee that you're going to reach your results. And it's one of the reasons why I have guarantees when people join my coaching, because I know if we apply what we have to apply, things will happen, the results will follow. But if we let people just don't measure their progress and kind of judge it by the way they look, by the way they feel, and just by the way they look in the mirror, or the way their clothes fit, that's never enough, and it usually leads to absolutely nowhere. Often people drop off and so on. So I will continue moving forward, and I will share a few big mistakes that I have listed here in front of me so I don't miss anything, which are very important. You should never make these mistakes, and they're all very big ones that can mess you up badly. First one will be ignoring non-scale measurements, things like body measurements or progress photos, and things that measure your body composition changes, energy levels, gym performance, sleep, and other relevant health markers based on your health conditions. So ignoring all this and just focusing on the weight, it's a mistake in so many ways. First of all, your weight can fluctuate with about 2.5 kilograms per 24-hour cycle. So if you're looking at your weight in the morning and has gone up a little bit and thinking that you have gained weight and your diet is not working, you need to make a change, that's right away you're making another huge mistake. You're just making an emotional decision. You need to be tracking your body weight together with other markers, which I will give you in a few minutes. And in that way, you know when the weight, for example, the weight has gone up, but the body composition changed, the belly has shrunk and looks smaller, the shoulders has opened up, and now you can tell that the muscles have just filled in more of the space of the body. It makes you heavier, but in reality the fat is gone down. So you don't need to worry about it all. You actually have to celebrate because that's a favorable change in body composition. And you will never see that if you just focus on the weight. So keep that in mind. Never just focus on the weight. Weight is just a number and it can mess you up a lot when you focus on that only. A second mistake, taking measurements at inconsistent times. So if you're taking your progress photos or your weight once, let's say in the morning, and the other time you take it at noon or in the evening, then obviously you're going to have the wrong readings and you're never going to know, even by a guess, what really is going on because the weight fluctuates, as I said. The next one would be multiple scales, using different scales when measuring your progress. You will be surprised how inaccurate they are, so make sure you're using always the same tools when you're measuring your own progress. Never switch them up. If you switch them up, just know they're probably not accurate, okay? It's okay to do it when you have no other option. Keep in mind that it may be not the same. Then we have obsessive daily weighing. This is something that can develop a lot of mental health conditions and problems, anxiety, depression. It can help you develop body dysmorphia. Also can have something to do with your eating disorders. It can mess up with your mind. So if you're measuring your weight every day, which is not that bad of a practice, if you know that these things can happen, make sure you're observing it as a scientist, as just numbers. Don't ever get emotionally attached to the daily numbers and don't make decisions on the daily numbers ever, ever, ever. Okay, I will tell you how to measure and what numbers to use to make your decisions when adjusting your diet and training plan and everything else. So keep that in mind. The last mistake that I have listed here is emotional response to numbers, which kind of I said that a few times already. Whenever you're taking any measurements and looking at numbers, never allow yourself to just respond emotionally on the spot. Even if you don't call it emotionally, you will feel like I'm making the right decision. Oh, my weight has gone up now and I will make an adjustment right away. No, never make an adjustment just because you saw the weight has gone up just like now, right now, or you're in the mirror, you don't look well. Allow time and collect the data for the month, or at least for a couple of weeks before you really make any adjustment. So keep that in mind. Don't make these emotional, fast decisions. Very big mistakes. And now I'll move to the things that we need to measure. How to measure them? Very simple. I'll keep it short and concise. And keep in mind that when you measure your progress, you have to keep some record of it. You need to be able to go back and read what's happening, and you need it in a very visible way. And the old-fashioned way is Google spreadsheets. They work. So you can use a Google spreadsheet to track your weight, your photos, exercise performance, sleep quality, food intake, and so on. But you can imagine that this is a bit complicated. So it's much better you use an app that tracks everything for you, and it's easy to use, user-friendly. When you open it, has everything with the charts and the scales. So it makes life so much easier. You can open the app and see exactly what's going on in seconds without having papers and lost documents. It's one app, right? And you can actually have my app. It's totally for free for 30 days you can actually follow the program, which is fit in 4 weeks together with the app. So I have created that 4 weeks program, which I've mentioned in the previous episodes. It's a weight loss program, but actually it's a coaching weight loss program. So it's not just the diet and it's not just the exercise. It's teaching you on how to apply these things, how to have the right habits, how to deal with some issues. There's a lot of lessons in there, and it's going to take you through the process of identifying what's the right training plan, what's the right diet for you, how to structure your lifestyle, and it's going to do that step by step for you in the same way that I do this with the podcast, but that's going to be just personalized for you. And you have the app that comes hand in hand, obviously, with the program, and it tracks your progress, exactly the things that I'm talking about today. So just download the app. It's going to change your whole life like so much easier, and it's going to give you so much clarity. Right, the things that you have to measure, the essential things. We have body weight and progress photos. I mentioned body weight is obvious. If you want to lose a lot of weight, then you need to know that the weight is dropping, right? If it's not dropping, then you're not losing weight. As simple as that. You might be losing fat if the weight stays the same. Yes, that sometimes happens. But if you have to lose a lot of weight, that's not a good option to go for. I prefer dropping the weights right down. So anyway, without spinning in circles here, body weight is absolutely crucial. You should be measuring your body weight. And you should be measuring changes in body composition. That's where progress photos step in. So when taking progress photos, just take your t-shirt off and take a photo from the front with upright posture, a good distance from the camera so everything is visible. Don't go too close to the camera because it skews up the image, makes you look weird. So step far away. You can always zoom in the picture and see exactly how you look like. Do the same from the side and do the same from the back, and these are the three best photos that you can take. You can take other variations like some flexing photos where you can show your muscles and so on and see how they progress. That's a personal choice, but just make sure you have these three, the most important photos, so you can track changes in your body composition. Other ways you can track your body composition, which I haven't given you because they're much harder, is through tape measurements, circumference measurements, which are very complicated. You have to track, measure with the tape, with the measuring tape, 3 times every single part of the body. Take the average of each of them. It's just time consuming and probably you'll do it wrong. So just don't go there. Take a progress photos. It will save your life, a lot of time from your life. And yeah, mirrors, there's some things like mirrors that can take also body composition. There's new apps that are coming out. We still don't have one, but maybe soon, that can also take your body composition. There are ways to track your body composition changes, but progress photos is like the easiest and very, very accurate one. Just make sure it's taken the same way I described, and remember, take them in the same time, use the same camera and the same lighting in the room. Okay, so whenever you make any changes to the environment or the camera that you're using, you're going to receive different results. So keep that in mind too. The third measurement that's very important is exercise performance. So when trying to lose weight, that's all good, all fine, but I don't think focusing on just on the weight is the right way to go, because you can go way too extreme and end up not being in a sustainable regimen. We want to have a journey that is very sustainable, and for that you need to be performing well, you need to be feeling well, preferably you need to be getting stronger and feeling better, and that will create that very positive relationship with the journey. Whereas if your performance at the gym is shit, then the chances are at some point you're going to say, I had enough of this. Other guys are performing well and looking good, so I'm doing something wrong, I'll just stop the whole thing. I'll start training for performance. You get fed up of this. So you need to track your exercise performance and ensure the training plan together with the diet are helping you lose weight, but also helping you become stronger and fitter, which is super, super important. And remember, you're not going to be losing weight forever. After that, what are you going to do? You have to continue still training, and then the metrics will be exercise performance the most. So that's definitely a thing. The other one related to this would be your steps. When losing weight, steps will be one of the activities which we'll be talking about more, but one of the activities that will help you burn a lot of the fat, and it's a massive calorie burning exercise. very popular. So make sure you measure your steps, how much you do, set a target. We usually go for the gold standard of 10,000 steps, as long as you have the time and the physical ability to do that. If you don't, then just walk as much as possible and aim to get as close as possible to 10,000 steps every day. But without tracking, you're not going to know really how much you're doing. So make sure you have a tracking device to track your steps. And this, by the way, could be your phone as well. The phone can track your steps with the GPS inside. If you go to the health app in your phone, it's going to show you how many steps you've done today. So you can use that to start with. You don't need expensive watches or anything. Anyone can do that. Then we have the next, sleep quality. Sleep quality again can be tracked with tech. It also can be tracked without a tech. By sleep quality, to start with, just focus on having a very good quality sleep where you wake up rested and you can perform well in your day. If you know that you're waking up like shit and your sleep is never enough, then you need to work on it. Just keep in mind monitoring this, because it's one of the most important factors for your health and well-being. And if you see fluctuations in your sleep quality, and for example, you've been having a good sleep and then on the next day you wake up like shit because last night suddenly you didn't sleep well, that will give you an indication that something is going on. Maybe you did do something wrong on the previous day, and you can recognize it so you don't do it again. That could be overeating way too much too late. That could be eating specific type of foods or drinking alcohol, for example, or going in bed too late. There could be things that you do that you will notice affect your sleep massively, and you need to work on them, because that's going to affect your performance in the day, the decisions that you're going to make in the day when it comes to diet and training, how well you're going to stick to your program, how well you do your business. It's going to affect everything. So don't ignore the sleep. Don't think you're like you can just go hard and don't sleep and just sleep when you die. This is not going to work. This is bullshit approach. I've done it, everybody's done it at some point, but you learn the hard way. It doesn't work. So sleep quality, and the final one would be from the essential ones, food intake. So that could be the calories, the macronutrients if you're tracking them, or it could be just the number of meals that you're having, the size of the meals that you're having, and making sure they're structured well. There is detailed training on that in the Fit in 4 Weeks program, which you can download again and you can watch it and understand everything. And I will have future episodes on this too. So tracking the food intake is super, super important. Otherwise, you'll be eating emotionally and again, not get anywhere. You need to have some structure. It could be any type of structure, as I said, with using tracking tools like scales, food scales, and apps, or just the portion size and the frequency of the meals. Whatever it is, your structure, you need to have it. Otherwise, you're not going to get there. And with that, we conclude with the essential ones. You have to be taking these when losing weight if you want to have a very good, successful journey. And just, I'll put it this way. Imagine how much work you're going to do with your training, with your diet, how much effort you're going to spend getting to your goals, changing your life, and realizing at the end that you didn't get there because you didn't measure your progress for 5 minutes a week. I mean, that would be absolutely stupid, wouldn't it? So start measuring your progress if you want to manage it. Don't be that guy who just ignores the small things that will make all the difference. Measuring is one of the most important parts of your journey. If you measure, that's not going to alone solve the problem, but it's always going to motivate you and indicate when you're not doing well. So be honest with yourself and measure your progress. And finally, I'll just give you a few things that you need to keep in mind that you can measure as well. One would be energy levels and productivity throughout the day. For a lot of you high-performing executives who have to do a lot of work, think a lot throughout the day, make a lot of decisions, and do a lot of manual work, you need to have these good energy levels. Tracking them and optimizing them obviously is going to massively help you, and they can be optimized through the diet, through the training, through the sleep, right? So it's all kind of related, so keep that in mind. Then also we have the health conditions. Obviously, if you have high blood pressure, diabetes, you need to track your blood sugar. If you have cholesterol, you need to track your cholesterol levels and monitor for improvements, right? And keep track of these patterns right, of the data in a long time, so you can look back and discover patterns. For example, what's causing your blood sugar to rise, right? What's causing your blood pressure maybe to rise? What's causing them to drop? You can identify patterns which will highlight what's good and what's not good for you, and this is super, super powerful. And the last one that I have on the list is the fat percentage, which is an optional. Fat percentage tools that we have available right now are absolute shit. So it's one of the biggest mistakes that people often do, is actually going for the fat percentage and thinking that's going to show you what's going on, and getting emotionally attached to that as well. That on top of it, it just makes it worse. Fat percentage measurements tools like the scales that you have at home with the handles would be the best that we have, or the same at the gym. They work in the same principle, where you step on the scale with bare feet and you grab the handles. This would be the best that we have, and they're shit. You'll be surprised how wrong they are, and they fluctuate a lot. They do get mixed up with the water retention in your body. When your muscles fill up and take a lot of the space, that also changes how much percentage of the body is actually fat. The body fluctuates quite a lot, and measuring this metric from these tools is just a bullshit. If your fat percentage is below, like, let's say 20%, or you think it is, then maybe you can track it every now and then and see what's going on and see if you can drop it. But if you're very overweight, and starting to measure your fat percentage doesn't make absolutely any sense. Just ignore that metric. Don't worry about it at all. Think about your body composition, your weight, and your performance. That's all. And yeah, I will stop it here. I hope this was helpful and clarified a lot of the things that you might be doing wrong and what you need to measure. Download the app so you can start working on that. Even if you don't, you can use a spreadsheet, but make sure you measure your progress if you want to manage it. And that's it, and I'll see you in the next episode.